Hey, good morning, Metropolis. It's now 5 after the hour of 6 a.m. in the big monster city.
Come on! Let's get pumped!
I'm not drinking any fucking Merlot! What can I say? The camera loves me!
Shall we begin?
After you, Junior.
Hello, everybody. I am Kaleb Boatman here without Brzakala. I've been gone the last 3 weeks. When we started the show, I was here for like parts of it for those last two. But this is my first time opening the show. It's also my first time solo hosting it because Tim, I think, got stabbed in Milwaukee or something. I'm not sure. But we got a good show. We got talking animals for our first episode of Logged It. We got a good panel. I'll bring them in. First up, we've got Mr. VHS, Nazario.
Hey.
Nazario, how are you feeling about this episode?
I mean, it's going to be great.
That's good. Now we'll bring in Nico. Nico, now we'll bring in Spence. Spence, how are you feeling about this episode? Because
Lord of the Rings sucks. I can say because Tim's not here.
Where is Tim?
Nico, how are you? How are you feeling? Are you good?
I've had a rough day. More so not because of stuff going on backstage, but my insurance was being a dick to me today. So there's that. But hopefully we'll get it resolved by tomorrow or so. But yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired, and I'm just here to talk about shit I logged on my letterbox.
Okay, well, that's fair. So we're gonna get started first with our general letterbox questions. First up, what was your favorite movie that you logged on Letterboxd this week? We're gonna start with Nazario. Nazario, what was your favorite movie you logged this week?
I actually logged a lot this week. I mean, I don't usually watch this many in such a short span. But since The Conjuring 3 and Quiet Place 2 came out, and I hadn't seen a single Conjuring movie or Quiet Place, I decided to watch all of that. And I almost switched for a movie that I watched today. But I still think it's going to be the original A Quiet Place that I hadn't seen before. It was actually pretty close with The Conjuring 1 and 2 because those two are solid movies. But I guess it's a personal taste thing. I think I like A Quiet Place 2, A Quiet Place 1 a little bit better than those. It's actually a very entertaining concept. It's a movie that moves at a fast pace. It's 90 minutes long, and it's just like, it just flies by. It's a movie that never lets you down, never lets you get bored, and
Never gives you up. Never lets you down. Never gonna run around.
and generally, man, it just fucking works. It's like machinery, precision. I really liked it. John Krasinski, good director, Dan.
Yeah, no, I think it was an absolutely impressive work from Krasinski. You had only done like kind of mid-level comedies, but I think that in terms of directing,
You're shitty on character. I just Margot Martindale. How dare you? How dare you?
She's not in BoJack Horseman, so it's not as good. But
you're shitty on the grandma from Hannah Montana the movie. How dare you?
Cool, be quiet. Quiet Place, I legitimately think was a really good thriller. I wasn't like in love with it with like some people, but it was a legitimately solid thriller that relied heavily on visuals, which I think is actually really bold for a movie nowadays to not be super reliant on dialogue. So kudos to them. Nico, have you seen A Quiet Place?
I have not.
Okay, cool. Spence, Quiet Place, thoughts?
Podcast training garage is in La Corra and is 34.7 kilometers away.
Somebody activated my Google.
I have seen it. It's pretty good. I think everyone's funny because like, oh my god, my theater experience. Mine was shit. A character got murdered, and a woman behind me just started screaming and yelling at the characters for them to run, and that's a lot of what I remember from it.
I hate it when they run. So, I thought A Quiet Place was good. Now I'll go favorite movie I logged this week. I'm gonna do two because I'm sneaky. Favorite rewatch this week was The Sting, which I watched during YLS while Cody was here, and this thing's just awesome. Favorite new watch this week though was Cyrano de Bergerac, which was, if you remember last week's episode, that was the movie I added to my watch list that I was very excited about. And I watched it this week. That movie is super fun. Jose Ferrer deserved his Oscar. He is fantastic in that movie. It's based on a stage play. I thought the movie was just excellent. I'll make this quick. Has anyone else here seen Cyrano de Bergerac or have any thoughts on it?
What version did you watch?
1950.
No. I saw the remake that Steve Martin
Roxanne.
did with his nose.
Roxanne.
Yeah.
Roxanne.
Oh, there's one also with Gerard Depardieu, I think.
Yeah, there's going to be a
that one.
musical version with Peter Dinklage coming out this year. Nico, I'm going to assume you have no idea what I'm talking about. Spence.
Shout out to Pride Month. 2020 is the half of it. Is a loose retelling of Cyrano de Bergerac, but I have not seen it. Just wanted to shout it out for the gays.
Okay, Nico. What was the favorite movie you watched this week?
So I have I didn't watch that many movies this week, but I do have two. I'm never going to be allowed back on the show. I can tell you. I have two. They're both first-time watchers, and they both share some common themes. For one, they're both Fandom movies, and it's necessary for me to watch them to study them. The second thing that's tying them together is they're both about dragon mythology. I'm getting ready to start pro wrestling training soon, and I want my gimmick to be dragon-based, so I'm trying to get as much research in as I can, look for inspiration wherever I can find it. God damn it, sorry. The movies I'm referring to here are Raya and the Last Dragon and the live-action Pete's Dragon, both of which I really enjoyed. I feel like Raya and the Last Dragon, it's written very well for Awkwafina's style of humor. She shines very well, gets to show a lot of range in that. The story is really cool. The scenery is great, and as for Pete's Dragon, and I guess you could say this for both, the themes of wonder and amazement of just seeing like these magical beings right up in front of you. You get that experience. You feel that experience secondhand through the characters in both movies. Just watching them look at dragons for the very first time. It also, if you're me, you kind of find yourself watching it sort of through the eyes of Hiccup Haddock from How to Train Your Dragon, and you're just like wondering, what would he think if he saw these dragons? Like, why does this one talk, and why is this one completely made of fur?
I'm sure that is a question we have all asked ourselves: is what would Hiccup think? That's just a very common question.
I need a bracelet. WWA.
We need to make bracelets. Nazario, thoughts on both those films?
Pete's Dragon is actually a remarkably well-made live-action remake. It's one of the best ones. I think it's in my top 5. It used to be top 3, but I actually really enjoyed Cruella this year, so it might have scooped down. I think it's like 4 or 5. It's one of those versions of that does what I think a remake should do. Because if you're just gonna put the same movie on screen again, you're just doing Gus Van Sant Psycho. But if you have a new idea, you want to do something like a little bit different with it and insert originality, this is kind of the way to do it, which is what makes one of the top live action remakes, because most of them are the same thing. And Raya and the Last Dragon, it's pretty great. I missed 2. Count them, 2 Raya and the Last Dragon questions in the last 6 days on trivia, because I watched that in March and I didn't rewatch it. And cost me once, didn't cost me a second one. It's a good movie. Pretty solid.
Spence.
I've seen neither. I don't really care to.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the Pete's Dragon remake. I've heard like nothing but good things from the people who have actually seen it, though. So I'm actually kind of intrigued. Raya and the Last Dragon, I thought was a good movie, not a great movie. I'm just not a big Awkwafina fan at the end of the day, at least in terms of comedy. I really like The Farewell. That's an underrated movie that more people should see. But in terms of comedy Awkwafina, especially, I'm just not a big fan of comedy Awkwafina, and she's like the comic relief in that movie. So that brought the movie down a little bit for me. But I really like the ideas and themes of the movie. To me, that was super interesting, which also made the movie a little disappointing because I felt like movie could have been done a little bit better and it would have been like top tier Disney. I'm excited to revisit it though, because maybe I'll enjoy it now that I kind of know what the movie leads up to though.
And I'll just say to defend Awkwafina, like she's not all jokes in this movie. Like she does have some heartfelt moments where she actually shines on an emotional level.
Her jokes are what bring it down for me. Nazario, what were you saying?
No, what I was gonna say is that I kind of get that with the Awkwafina thing because I find the way she works best is when she's not just trying to win the room in every single shot she's in, which it kind of makes me worry a bit about Shang-Chi because all the Awkwafina in that trailer is not good. But I actually think she was pretty restrained in Raya. I think she kind of made it work for the most part.
Adelaide.
Yeah. I'll keep it short and sweet. I rewatched Hot Rod this week. That movie is cool beans. Holds up very well in the rewatch. I enjoyed watching it on call with Bar earlier last year, and I enjoyed rewatching it yesterday.
I've never been the biggest fan of Hot Rod. I prefer exponentially Popstar. I think Popstar's incredible. I think Hot Rod is like it's fine. It's not a bad movie, but I don't see what everyone else sees in it. Nico, have you seen Hot Rod?
I have, but it's been a while, so I'll do my best to remember it. As I say, I remember he's constantly trying to get his dad's approval, stepdad, and I think he was going to jump over 1 million cars or something. Like that just shows how loosely I remember. School buses. I need to rewatch this because I know I enjoyed it when I watched it, but I guess it wasn't as memorable as it could have been. Maybe it's because it was on Comedy Central, so they maybe censored it and watered it down with commercials and bleeps.
Nazario, have you seen Hot Rod?
It's all right.
What?
It's all right.
Fair enough.
Palm Springs is better. Popstar is better. Andy Samberg has done a lot of better movies than that. This is the one with the fake mustache, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny.
And Soul of Bottlenose Dolphin.
I saw it once. It was enough.
Yeah, Andy Samberg has done a lot better. Like, that's my boy. Okay. Next.
Vanilla Ice is good in that one.
We're going to move on to what your least favorite movie that you logged this week is. This is, you watch crap, you get to talk about it. We'll start with Spence this time. Spence,
I want to.
What crap did you watch this week that is actually probably not that bad?
Oh no! You see, I for once agree with Kaleb Koho and Andrew Bars. It's like something correct. At Ethan Beller, you dumb shit. Cinedouche New York is horrendous. Oof. Awful screenplay. One of the worst edited films I've ever seen. It is actively terrible and takes out every sense of emotion you could have towards the characters. Acting's pretty good, but everything other than that is just an absolute failure, and it really shouldn't exist. And the people who like it, I genuinely don't understand why. I think it's just like, oh, hey, I want to seem smart, but it's really not smart. It's just, hey, death, and then that's about it.
I have liked a lot of films that have been written by Charlie Kaufman. There are 2 on my top 100. I have seen one of his directorial work, and it was I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is a movie that, ironically, the more I thought about it, the less I liked. So I'm not really looking forward to watching Synecdoche, New York anytime soon. Nico, I'm going to assume you have not seen this film.
Your assumption would be correct, and with a title like Cinedouche New York, why would I want to?
God damn it!
Synecdoche?
I think Cinedouche is more fitting.
Oh wait, that's not the actual title.
Synecdoche, because it's a lot of letters that mean nothing.
Thoughts? I feel like you like weird movies. Like
I love this movie.
You like weird dark movies. I feel like you like this one.
I love this movie. This is a fucking 5-star movie. Just like I'm thinking of ending things for similar reasons. Are they self-indulgent? Yes. Are they up their own ass? Yes, they are. But that's kind of the point. The guy just wants to throw the things that are happening in his brain on screen for you. It's all fucking metaphors, beginning to end. And you may just want to get in the ride and enjoy it, or you may not. It's not a movie I feel like, you know what I'm going to watch today? I'm going to watch Cinedachi New York. That's what I'm going to put in the fucking Blu-ray. No. But once I decide to invest on it, it's actually very interesting. Philip Seymour Hoffman is amazing in this movie. He is a theater director who wants to put on a stage play. It's a stage play. I remember, right?
He's literally putting on a performance of his own life.
Yes.
Of himself, putting up in a greenhouse.
Yes.
Like he's inceptioning his own autobiography with other actors who are just living life as themselves, but as other people.
And it goes through different phases of his life. It's an interesting.
It's just him getting older and fucking different women. Nothing happens,
dude.
It's like a Hugh Hefner movie.
It's an interesting vision of his own life through his own interpretation of it.
This is
like fucking people who are up their own asses. I watched fucking Dogville from Von Trier, where he had no sets and everything was drawn in chalk on the floor.
I feel like if you want people up their own asses, you're watching the wrong kind of movie. Sorry.
But the issue is, this is 9. It is someone obsessed with their own tragedy and just makes themselves fuck women to try and show me happier through the screenplay. That is all this movie is.
9 is shit. Don't compare 9.
Then this is shit.
No, it's not.
I think we're going off the rails. Nico, I feel like you watch a lot of bad movies. What was the worst movie you watched this week?
I think I have it. Give me a sec. I think I have that Blu-ray.
Okay, so as I said earlier, I did not watch a lot of movies this week. So the only reason this is my answer to the question that is written below me is because my watch list was kind of very small this week. And so I'm going
playing movie trivia.
I needed a after binging all the horror shit, I needed a break. So I took some time off from
Nazario, what's a break?
Studying.
What?
What's a break? You get a break from studying? Nico, what's your movie?
I hate that I'm getting roasted today. Kong Skull Island. Again, good movie. It just falls under the category of least favorite movie I watched this week because I watched limited amount of movies this week. It's a good action movie. It's kind of following the template of current Hollywood, where it's like get as many big actors and put a bunch of explosions in it and have them fight a big monster. Also, Raymond Holt's husband Kevin from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in this too, which is kind of just it threw me off a little bit of like, why is Kevin here? No, it's a good movie. Like John C. Reilly has a lot of moments in this. Samuel L. Jackson is fucking insane in this, and
that's okay, Redshaw. You deserve a break.
You are so mean today, Boatman.
But yeah, I like it. I like the movie. I'm looking forward to watching Godzilla versus Kong later on. I'm just saying this is the only reason this was my least favorite movie of the week is because I didn't watch that many movies this week, and this one just fell right below Pete's Dragon and Raya.
Right below. That's a far depth to fall. Actually, not really. But Nazario, thoughts on Kong Skull
Island? it's probably still the best of the monster verse that they're doing right now in the Warner Brother Legionnaire thing. I might have considered Kong versus Godzilla to be the best one, which probably is effects wise and visually wise, but I think Kong Skull Island is a great fucking movie. It's the one more balanced overall. It balances the monster stuff with the human stuff the best, because every other single movie they made, the human part is kind of wasteful. And it's a weird pick for your least favorite because it's actually a solid, good action movie. But having said that, Cine Dutch in New York is a great fucking movie that not everybody's going to enjoy. So
I'd burn that if I could.
Spence,
Yes.
thoughts on Kong Skull Island?
Oh, I did not. I sort of saw it, but not really. So I don't really have any thoughts besides like he fights a big lizard thing, and that's a cool scene, and that's all I remember.
I also have not seen Kong Skull Island because I was 17 when it came out, and I thought, I want pretentious movies, so I didn't see. Anyway, next we're going. Actually, no, Nazario. What was your least favorite movie you watched this week? How does this show work? I don't know.
Marky Mark has done some great movies and has done a lot of shit. And the last movie he made apparently was not even worth putting in theaters. They straight up put that thing on Paramount Plus on Thursday. And since I was like, I pay Paramount Plus, I'm going to check this out. I watched Infinite. That movie, it's not good. It's very, very stupid. And not even in a fun way. It kind of has Wanted vibes, the movie Wanted, and a little bit of the Equilibrium vibes too. The basic plot is there are some people called the Infinites who have the luck or lucky part, I don't know, of when they die, they get resurrected, but they remember what happened in the previous life. So after 100 lives or so, they are like the best at everything because they were a blacksmith one life and they were a ninja in the other. Now they are a fucking ninja blacksmith or something. But there are two sides, you see. The good guys who think that their gift is for the betterment of humanity, yet they don't do absolutely anything to help humanity during the movie. And the guys who just want to fucking die. That are tired of getting resurrected. And they just realize that they will never be able to die unless everybody dies with them. So they want to end the world. The guy made up bullets that take your soul and trap it into a digital file. So he has a computer in his office with a giant bunch of names of all the Infinite he's killed, and he's saving in his hard drive so they don't resurrect. Motherfucker, if that's what you want to do, kill yourself with a bullet. And put yourself in the hard drive or something, you'll have to end the world. It's really stupid. But see what they let you for. It's chewing the scenery so well that it's actually kind of a joy to watch. That part.
I know this is supposed to be the least favorite movie you watched this week, but honestly, you just sold me on watching this movie.
Damn it.
How are your pitches for bad movies making them sound like amazing? I only want to watch this with you. I don't want to watch it myself. I want to watch this with you.
Let's get Mike Hanley and make it a thing.
For this movie.
Yeah.
Why we love shit coming to the video store just watching bad movies.
Spence, Nico, have either of you watched this yet?
I have not, but I know Nazario was trying to roast this movie, but he just basically pitched it perfectly for me. I want to see it now. Sign me up for that episode of M Ranked because I want to see it.
Spence?
I really don't care. I nothing about that intrigues me. I'll listen to Nazario talk about movies that are better than Static in New York, though.
Was he ever? That right?
No.
Boatman's a better rapper than Mark Wahlberg. Let's just say that on the record.
I won't deny that. You see me do bust a move at karaoke. I feel bad. Goodbye, Barry. That is next. Me. My bad movie. This one. I was catching up on some 2020 releases, and this one was rough. Not just because it was a bad movie, because like there are worse movies out there, but it was the follow-up from the directorial debut of people who had made a movie that is in my top 10 of all time. Downhill is bad. It's a remake of the film Force Majeure, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is great. Downhill is awful, and it is so disappointing because Jim Rash and Nat Faxon directed the film, and this is their follow-up to The Way, Way Back, which was just one of my all-time favorite movies. And Downhill, it's not very funny. It has this weird line of feeling like an Apatow comedy and feeling like a melodrama, and it doesn't do either well. I think that it was honestly just such a disappointing watch because Faxon and Rash did like a movie I just loved, and now Downhill is bad. Nazara, did you see Downhill?
Were there movies in 2020? No.
Nico,
Cody Newberry?
Nico, I'm going to assume you didn't.
You would assume correctly. You know what? Everyone watching, just take a shot. Just take like 5 shots to make up for the millions of times I've said I have not
I
watched.
feel like this is going to be kind of a short episode.
That's a good way for people to get alcohol poisoning. Adelaide.
If Boatman doesn't drink on vacation, why would he drink on call?
Spence, did you actually see the movie?
Oh God, no! Are you kidding? Why would I watch Will Ferrell on anything?
Hey! Stranger Than Fiction, good movie.
The other guy is better movie.
Good fucking movie too.
Next, we'll move on to a movie that you added to your watch list. You're excited to talk about. Nazario, do you add anything to your watch list lately?
I don't use my watch list on Letterboxd, but I did add one movie just because I didn't know it existed. It kind of was a while back, but I'm gonna fucking talk about it anyway. Paul Thomas Anderson is making a new movie, and apparently it's gonna come out in 2021. The man is a great fucking director and a great fucking writer. I don't care what anyone says that they're not my type of movies. Fuck you. Your type of movies are not good movies. This thing is called Soggy Bottom, which is a bad title. But I look forward to the time. I'm going to say my favorite movie of 2021 is Soggy Bottom. It's going to be fun. It has Bradley Cooper in it. It has one of the Safdie brothers. I don't know if both of them are in it. And it's supposed to be set in 1970 San Fernando Valley about a guy that just says something about when something happens that has to make something happen. Very vague, but only because it's a PTA film, and he chose Bradley Cooper for it. I'm all in. I would say it's my second most exciting movie that I look forward to this year, only because there's a Ghostbuster movie coming up. Other than that, yeah, that's it.
That's fair. I'm excited for it. I don't know that much about the movie itself, but
Nobody does.
I haven't disliked a PTA movie. He has movies I like more than others. They're not movies that really no. They're not movies I find very rewatchable actually, but I enjoy them. I enjoy every one I watch. Spence, have you heard anything about this movie?
I'm very shocked that Nazario is just shitting on Oh Brother Where Art Thou for whatever reason. Soggy Bottom's a great name. But I also sort of hate PTA, so I'm not super excited. Like, it exists. I think cool things are there. Oh, I think I talked about it on one of the M-Ranked episodes. There's I'm forgetting what it is. There's a different movie coming out from acclaimed director this year that I'm forgetting. Actually, it might be this one because I think it's starring Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid. That or a different one. There's a lot of things happening this year that's like, oh, this could be cool, and it's not. And PTA is just an immediate mark against a movie for me.
Nico, do you know who Paul Thomas Anderson is?
I've heard of him.
Can you name a Paul Thomas Anderson movie?
Probably not.
Okay. We'll move on to you. I feel like there are a lot of movies you haven't watched. So what's one you added to your watch list?
It's one that was actually talked about a lot on last week's episode. And it technically counts because it's on Letterboxd. Bo Burnham Inside.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the reaction I was hoping for. So I was watching a Twitch stream this past Sunday, and the streamer actually started referencing the Jeffrey Bezos song during her stream, and the way she was just gut bust laughing the entire time she was singing it, it made me think I need to watch this. So yeah, it's been added to my list now. I look forward to sharing in the laughs.
That's fair. I haven't seen this one yet. Spence Nazario, either you see this yet?
Yeah, you were gonna watch it, and you watched fucking Cyrano de Bergerac instead, you bastard.
This is not a movie. Isn't this like a joke thingy?
No,
it's from what I understand, it kind of blurs the line between like comedy special and whatever.
It's also not much of a comedy.
Yeah. I'll go next. Movie I added to my watch list that I'm kind of pretty excited to watch is Limelight. It's one of Charlie Chaplin's later films, and I actually know very little about it, but the general premise kind of intrigued me of it kind of being semi-autobiographical. I'm kind of excited. Anyone else here heard of or seen Limelight?
I know it had like a weird Oscars thingy where it was nominated in like 52, 53 when it came out in like the 30s or 40s, but that's it.
If you were to say what Charlie Chaplin does in the movie, I could probably tell you off of memory if I remember seeing it or not.
He lights lights.
I know it exists.
Zaria, there. Zaria, I already went to you for watch list, right?
Wait, what?
Did I already go to you for watch list? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I said Sucking Bottom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I was blanking on that. Yeah. All right. I was just making sure. Yeah. So, now we'll get on to the movie.
Boatman.
What?
Boatman, you're forgetting something.
Did I forget you?
Yeah, you cheese-headed bitch.
Okay, well, I know I forgot something. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So this is reminding y'all to watch Minding the Gap, one of the greatest documentaries of all time. The directors of that, I didn't know, made a second documentary that came out this year. Thanks to Paul for reviewing it. Gave a great review. Made me want to drop everything and watch it immediately. It's called All These Sons. It's about, at least from my knowledge, gun violence in Chicago. Very simple pitch, but shouting out Bing Liu and Joshua Altman, I think created one of the biggest, at least from me being like a big city California dickhead, like a great insight into small town, smaller state kind of thing, and being able to transfer that into like this really heavy weighty topic is really intriguing to me, and I'm never excited to get into a documentary, but this immediately like piqued my interest, and I have to watch it as soon as I can.
All right. Yeah, I know very little about this movie. I actually know nothing about this movie. I know Minding the Gap, but I haven't actually seen that. Nazario, Nico, you heard of this film?
Same. Everything you just said.
Haven't even heard of it.
That's about what I expect. So now we're gonna.
I feel like Boatman is my disappointed dad that's somehow younger than me in this entire episode.
Boatman is Omni-Man right now, and you're invincible.
So I'm gonna die at the end of this then.
16 more years.
Now we'll move on to the movie of the month, which this month was Kubo and the Two Strings.
Is this the last episode for Kubo?
No, because it's still for the month of June, so still more episodes in June. We have 2 more in June actually. So not the last episode for Kubo. Nico, you did not watch Kubo.
I fucked up.
Yes, you did. Nazario, you actually watched the movie. Gold star cookie for you.
Thank you.
Thoughts on Kubo?
I mean, I had watched it before because I am not an animal, you know. So I watched it again today with my kid. It was a little bit of a different experience since 5 minutes in, he was like, yeah, switch that to Spanish, Dad, because I actually want to know what's going on. I was like, fair. So I had to watch it dubbed. But actually does not detract at all from the magic of this movie. Laika was kicking ass there for a while with their first couple of movies. I don't know what the hell happened after they did the box trolls, which was fine. The Missing Link, okay. But those first 3 movies they made.
Well, Box Trolls came before Kubo.
Was it?
Yeah, Box Trolls. It's Coraline, Paranorman, Box Trolls, Kubo.
So then I can expect them to bounce back from Missing Link then, right?
Yeah.
Fair. Yes, this is a great ass movie, man. Like, I think it's the most beautiful of the 5. Like animation wise, I think they mixed some CG in it because I'm pretty sure you cannot do some of the things you see in the screen in this movie with stop motion. But they actually have in the credits some of the puppets that they made, and some of the puppets that they use for some of the scenes are huge. They're like human people size. The detail and every single scene that you can sense of the story of Kubo and his mother and the monkey, the damn monkey, man, with all the skin that always seems to be crawling. It's kind of similar to that King Kong effect from the 1930s, but like obviously more polished. It's kind of brilliant. And the story itself, I do have a pinch to prefer more like horror, gothic oriented movies, which is why Coraline is my number 1 of the movies. And for a while, I would have said that Paranorman was my second one, and this was a close third. But I actually think, putting them all on equal size, this movie is better than Paranorman because it has better animation. It's beautiful to look at, and the story actually is very, very good in its own closed loop. The Moon King did not like one of his daughters, decided to marry a warrior that she was supposed to kill. They escaped, and he has followed them for the rest of their lives. Why he wants Kubo, why Kubo only has one eye, and what the 2 strings represent themselves is actually really, really sweet. In the end, when I don't know, it's not a guitar. What is the name of that thing he uses?
I can never remember what it is.
Like lyre.
Lyre. It's I don't think it's that, but it's something like that.
It's a 3-stringing instrument that he uses to channel his magic. He doesn't really need it because he proves during the movie that he can do magic without it. But in that final scene with the Moon King, when all the strings are broken and he has the 2 strings and what the 2 strings represent and how he wraps the movie about, it's so beautiful and so touching that, it's a perfect movie. I had it at 4.5. I opted to 5. I have no objection with this. The score is beautiful. The acting is great by both actually the dub version and the original version. I remember the Charlize Theron, Matthew McConaughey version. Ralph Fiennes is in this. What's the name? The girl from Dragon Tattoo.
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara. She does a dual role. It's a beautiful, beautiful animated movie, and it works for adults as much as it does for kids because it has reach. The monsters are beautiful. Everything in it, it's a great little fable. And it ends on a Beatles song, which, bonus points.
That's fair. Nico, you didn't watch this movie. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at your letterbox and look at some of the movies. That you
Okay.
have rated? No, you don't get to give a defense. So
No, before you roast me here,
no.
I can I make you an offer here?
What is your
I-
offer?
I will watch Kubo and the Two Strings before next week's episode, and I will
No.
video.
Okay. So first up, Nico, you gave 1951's Alice in Wonderland 2.5 stars. I think that's Nazario. Am I wrong? That's a little crazy. That's ridiculous.
The fuck?
Nazario, I need you to verify because I haven't watched this movie. He gave a full star higher than Alice in Wonderland. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, 3.5 stars.
Get Tim in here. Get Tim in here. He's fucking funny.
I mean, I kind of dig that movie more than most people. Me and Mike Hanley, we're into the white horse shit.
I also feel like that's probably because you like witnessed a car accident.
That's a freaking insane take. Alice in Wonderland is a great classic. Talking talking animals later. That is in my short list. What the fuck are you talking about, Nico?
Get Doc in here. Get Doc in here.
No. Okay,
That is your teammate. That is your teammate.
But no, okay. Now we're gonna get into the actual meat and potatoes of the show. Now we get into the actual list. Talking animals. These are animals that talk. So Spence.
You forgot to go to Spence for Kubo.
You know, last week. Watch the show,
Oh,
Nico. Come on.
All right,
Spence.
my bad.
Yeah.
So what is your first submission for talking animals? Animals that do the talk?
I want to clarify before we start the list. Are we saying movies or saying the characters and then them in a movie?
We are characters.
Okay. Shit.
We will talk
That
about
shape-
the movie, but you are choosing a character. Do
My
you want
Zack
me to go to
Snyder
like
owls
Nazario
no longer
first?
fit on this list.
You want me to go to like Nazario first?
No, I got one. I'm going to start with one of the most prolific voice actors of our time, creating a really iconic character, the man best known for just reading 50 Shades of Grey for like an hour and everyone loving it. I'm going as Gilbert Gottfried as Iago in Aladdin. My favorite Disney movie, one of my favorite Disney characters. I really love him also in the sequel that isn't eligible anywhere, but I really love. It's just a lot of fun. Iago's a great character who I think provides, at the end of the day, like, talking animals are often like side characters, joke characters. They're here to have fun. But I think he adds a new layer to the film in its comedy. And beyond that, I think he actually gets involved in the plot really well. And again, if we're talking non-canonical shit, in Revenge of Jafar, or him like having a more prominent role and having an actual arc is great to see.
Iago is just a very fun side villain. Just a very fun character. I think, Jafar is a villain that I honestly used to like consider like mid-tier villain, and I've kind of come around on Jafar mainly, honestly, because of Twisted. Twisted has actually made me kind of appreciate Jafar, Iago's just such a fun character. I'm so ticked off that I'm molting. Very fun. Nico, I feel like this is a movie you have seen.
Iago was actually on my list of honorable mentions. It's mostly because of the power that Gilbert Godfrey's voice lends to the character. Like, his voice is iconic. You remember it the moment you hear it. It's like sometimes you might hear a quote from one of the many comedy roasts he's been on and just imagine it being said through the mouth of a parrot, and it would make you laugh even harder probably. Iago, I'm trying to remember because I was a fan of Aladdin and the 40 Thieves straight to video movie, trying to remember what his arc was. God, it's been so long. But Iago, I think Diaz has a point that he can be annoying, but it's a good annoying. Like that's what gives his character depth and growth. Is like he's got that powerful presence from the voice that he has.
I think it's a character that honestly I don't find annoying. I think it could have been annoying because of Gottfried's voice, but I think they play it perfectly. Nazario, you hate Disney.
Of course.
Yeah.
I like Aladdin fine. It's not one of the movies I have in my top tier. Like, people tell me I'm crazy, but I mean, whatever. I like Iago. He's funny. The line that always comes back to me is the thing we have to start kissing up to this chump and his chump daughter for the rest of our lives. The way he just says chump is kind of funny. I would not put that in this list though, because I don't know, man. I figured that it's supposed to be like an animal that speaks in the movie, but is kind of also the heart of the movie or has a more meaningful role in it. Yes, the movie would be less funny if you remove Iago, but you can still have the movie. So
I feel like that's just your.
So what you want is the live action version where he turns into a big fucking dragon for no reason and starts attacking Agrabah. I guess what you want from Animal Sidekicks.
I said this is a good movie, not that one.
Yeah, I really enjoy Iago. We'll go to Nico next. Nico.
All right, I got to redeem myself for the amount of shit Boatman has put me through today. So,
Yes, you do.
let me ask you all something. Do you like waffles?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
like
colorblind? Do you like to do this with your mouth? Yep, donkey. We are going with donkey. Like, so many quotes from him have been done to death in this community. But they still never lose their touch. They're always funny. Like Eddie Murphy just brings so much to that role, like comedy, emotion, drama, depth. Like he is that friend that will constantly make you laugh, constantly annoy you, but also tell you when you're wrong and set you on the right path. Like he is. If Iago is the perfect sidekick villain character, Donkey is the perfect sidekick hero character, especially for someone like Shrek who is trying to figure out his path to actually becoming a hero in his own way.
Right. Nazario, thoughts on Donkey?
Again, is he funny? Yes. Memorable even? Yes. But if I was gonna pick an animal with Eddie Murphy, I would have gone Mushu. That's just
I thought about that.
You still can. You still can.
I mean, but yeah, Donkey is funny enough and memorable enough, but
Oh, Garth.
I'm not a big fan of the Shrek. I think 1 and 2 are great, and that's about it. Like 3 and 4 really diminish the brand, and the writing Universal is kind of shit.
Time him out. Bring the tradition over.
I think Donkey is the best part of the first Shrek movie. I think Donkey is what makes the first Shrek. Second Shrek, I think he's funny, but I think there's so much that is funny in Shrek 2. But I think he just shines. Just when he's just talking to Shrek as they're going through the field, and you get the whole ogres are like onions. That is comedy gold right there. That is just amazing. I think Shrek 2, there's just so much that's great in Shrek 2. He has some good lines. But I think Shrek 1 is where Donkey really shines. Spence, thoughts on Donkey?
I prefer him in Shrek 2. I think he's a more well-rounded out character. I think he adds more. I think his like beautification journey with Shrek himself is like I think that's a really interesting direction to take his character. Oh, Donkey's great. I mean, there's nothing on Donkey and Shrek the musical, the greatest iteration of the character. But it is a really good pick.
I mean, if you were going to pick an animal from Shrek, why don't you pick Puss in Boots?
I mean, someone still can. Next up, we'll go to Nazario. Nazario.
Talking animals. Okay. Nobody told me they had to be regular animals, so I decided to pick up the Teenage Mutant variety.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I'm putting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990 in this list, but I'm not actually going to pick one of the turtles. I'm going to pick Splinter. Splinter the rat, who is the sensei, the father figure, which is basically the heart of this film. which is he's dealing with his rebellious kids that he adopted and raised from his own, and then had to teach them how to defend themselves against the harsh realities of the world. He also gets kidnapped by the Foot in the middle of the film, and he still finds a spiritual way to communicate with his kids. So even though he is not in that much of the movie, he's definitely the heart of it. He shows up at the beginning. He is the main reason why they need to figure out a way to come together as brothers to be able to defeat the Shredder, and he still is teaching lessons in the end when he tells Shredder that he will die with no honor, while Shredder shows why he will die with no honor. The movie gets shot on a lot for the effects, for the suits, whatever. Dude, it was 1990. This was Jim Henson. This is the best they could literally do at the time, not doing animation. And I think it's kind of beautiful. Does it have mistakes? Everything has mistakes, man. If you look pretty deep, you will find the irregularities. But for a kid, 10 years old, it's definitely a rat.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I am. 101% for a kid that is growing up with this ambience, I had the cartoon, I had the comic books, and the way they look to me like they could look in real life. And not a single CGI version of those turtles has looked as good as the costumes and puppets from the original movie.
That's fair. I have actually never seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original movie, but this is the movie about the brave foot soldier that gets tragically taken down by a bunch of turtles, and that brave foot soldier being played by Sam Rockwell. Correct? This is about Sam Rockwell's character, right?
Head Thug. Yes.
Yes, Head Thug. I respect on that character's name.
And fighting feet. What's next?
You like turtles, I feel like.
I like martial arts movies, and this is one that just happens to have turtles and a rat in it. This is a good pick. I hadn't thought of it. Having trained in martial arts, I understand the master-student role and how it can how it can become parental in its own way. And so, Splinter has spent so many years growing these turtles to be the ultimate fighting machines, but also to be the best to be a family to him, and so when they succeed, he succeeds, and when they fail, he feels that pain as well, because it's like they are truly his sons. This is a good pick.
That's fair. Spence, have you watched?
I mean, turtles are like the closest thing we have to dragons. It only makes sense Nico likes it. I don't really care about any of these. They're just.
Have you heard of the Komodo dragon?
Yeah, there's a fucking team after it. So what? Albert moved on. He's found better.
We're not wrong. Now we're gonna move on to my pick, and I'm kind of gonna start off going a little bit left field. I'm gonna pick a movie that I honestly think is super charming and does not get talked about enough. I'm going a 1999 film starring a CGI animated mouse that gets adopted by a family known as the Littles. I'm going Stuart Little from Stuart Little. I'm sorry. Stuart Little is a legitimately charming movie. This movie is so charming. This was one of the first movies I was able to quote as a child. I would just go around yelling, "He's not my brother. He's a mouse. Baseballs and bowling balls. Are you guys nuts?" I don't know why that's still stuck with me for after all.
And your siblings, why don't you?
No comment. But Stuart Little is just a legitimately charming movie. I think Michael J. Fox makes this, and I think this character is just really, really fun. I really like the character of Stuart Little. I read the book all the time as a kid. That was one of my favorite books as a kid. I just really like Stuart Little as a whole as a movie. I think it's just very, very endearing, charming movie. Nazario, I feel like you've definitely seen this movie. I don't know where you stand on it.
I saw both live action ones. I never saw the third one that when they changed to animation though.
I think that was like direct to DVD, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it a good movie? Yeah, kinda. I remember I really appreciated. I like when Gina Davis and Dr. House decided to adopt a mouse. I remember Michael J. Fox's performance being actually very charming. I would actually rate Michael J. Fox as Stuart Little as about as charming as Ben Whishaw is with Paddington. They have that same energy.
No, I'll back that up.
And Nathan Lane as Nobel is actually quite funny, but I think the story overall is pretty basic. It doesn't have that extra oomph to make it a classic for me. But it's not like I hate the movie. I think it's in that.
No, I'll give you the movie itself has flaws. I just think the character is done super well.
Yeah, that actually I can agree with.
I'm not necessarily putting it on for the movie. I'm putting it on for the character itself. Nico, have you seen Stuart Little? I feel like you have.
I have. I think it was in the theater when I was like 4 years old. So, good Lord, it's been like, so it's been at least like 22 years since I've seen it. Yeah, this is one of those movies that I don't think my autistic brain that liked repeatedly watching certain things gravitated to. I do remember, though, I think one of the 3 main fast food chains sold toys based on this movie for a brief time to help with the promotion. I can't remember if it was McDonald's, Wendy's, or Burger King. But yeah, like the things I remember from this movie are the lines that you quote all the time about it, like he's not a mouse, he's my brother, and vice versa. So maybe I'll give it a rewatch, maybe not. I don't know.
Stuart Little 1 had Burger King, Stuart Little 2 had Wendy's.
Oh.
Yeah, because I had the Wendy's convertible toy when Stuart Little 2 came out. And that was like my favorite toy as a kid. Spence, actually, before I say this, weird detail about this movie. This was one of the first films written by M. Night Shyamalan. This came out the same year as The Sixth Sense. And that is just a weird fact. Spence, thoughts on the character of Stuart Little?
He's a mouse. Fuck him. He sucks. He ain't a rat. Piece of shit.
Okay. Spence, we'll go to you next. What is your next submission?
So the name of the show is Animal Sidekicks.
No, it isn't.
What? Talking animals.
Spence,
whatever.
Look right here. Spence, look up here.
Okay, so that helps make my point. You know an animal that talks? Animal, the Muppet.
I'll give it to you.
Loophole.
He is quite possibly my favorite Muppet, and I'm going to pick the 2011 Muppets because I think that's the best iteration of all the characters, at least my favorite of them. He is
2011.
Yes. I think Boatman, you know more about Muppets than I do, so you can correct me. Like, to me, he's the heart and soul of the band. If we're going, like, we're not going by sidekicks thing, but like he's not like the lead singer, he's the one that your eye just gets drawn to. Even like he's one of my favorite character introductions of just going to see him zen and meditating and having to see Kermit in the band like egg it out of him, bringing back just the animal and bringing it back in the band, back for the show. And he brings so much light to the entire franchise, and he brings so much fun to it. Like, I can't imagine the Muppets without him. And him just basically speaking only like 3 or 4 words. Just, that's a great character. When someone that simple can have such a strong impact in your films.
No, this is a real fun pick. This is I considered some Muppets, and there's one that's like a little further down on my short list. Probably not going to come up unless both my picks get taken that are left. But I love the Muppets. And I agree in terms of the character of Animal. this is the best showcase of him in a movie. I think it is so fun to have him start off just being like very chill. I think the way all the characters start off just shows that like the 2011's The Muppets had a very strong understanding of who those characters are, and I think and just how they work in comedy. I think that Animal is a very fun character. I'll be honest, he's not one of my favorite Muppets, but I get the love. In terms, I still like Animal. Don't get me wrong, but just in terms of Muppets, I have Muppets that are my favorite. I enjoy Animal, but like he wouldn't rank for me personally top 5 Muppets. But I love the Muppets, so I still like Animal. Nico, thoughts on Animal?
So Spence is right to call him the heart of the band because, he's the percussionist, and percussionist essentially gives heartbeat to every song. Like the drums are the beat to the song. I agree with Boatman in that Animal might not be my favorite Muppet, but he is my favorite member of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhems. Like, no offense to the other members of the band, but Rolf, Dr. Teeth, whoever that lady is whose name I can't remember, Janice. Let's be real.
Did you say Rolf?
Yeah.
Rolf is the best Muppet.
Animal is the best member of that entire band. Everyone loves him. Everyone loves his antics. Like when his head, and I know we're talking about the 2011 movie, but in the original Muppet movie, when his head grows through that building and just scares the living shit out of
that is very fun. I forgot about that. That is a very fun scene in that movie.
It literally scares Hopper away and allows them that path to Hollywood for them to finally live out their dreams there. Like Animal is such an underrated character, and this is a great pick. A great loophole pick too.
I don't think it's necessarily a loophole. Like I mean, I guess because he's not a real animal, but fair.
But it's right there. Animal.
Nazario.
I'm gonna take that loophole and assume that monsters are on the table now. So
no, his name is Animal. Unless there's a monster named Animal.
If you go Monsters Inc., I'm gonna shoot you down.
No, not Monsters Inc. But
if you go Howie Mandel and Little Monsters, you're off the show.
He's picking Monster Squad. Let him pick it.
Okay, no, but like Ralph is my favorite Muppet. Like the dour voice. It was Jim Henson who originally did him when he played the piano and he said his sad ironic jokes. I love Ralph. I don't know if he's part of the Electric Mayhem like permanently. He shows up with them once in a while, but I don't think he's part of the core members. I'm just happy that they found a way to put the Muppets in this. I'm gonna take that as a general Muppet thing. Yes, Gonzo is better, and Ralph is better, and Miss Piggy is hilarious, and shout out to Fuzzy Bear. But Animal's good. No drums.
I enjoy it a lot. Next up, Nico. What is your second pick?
Okay, so this is my only other pick. These two get one extra.
Don't spoil how the show works. You talk about your stuff. Because also we might not do that depending on how long the rest of the
stuff. I'm pointing this out because I don't want to put you on blast, but I have to. Do any of you three have a female character on your list?
Maybe.
I mean, yes.
Okay. In which case, I won't feel bad about going to this other pick then.
No matter what, this is your last pick, Nico. So.
All right. We're gonna go Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Like the arc that he goes through in each of his MCU films, like he's slowly opening himself up more and more with each film, and he goes from crazy uncle of the family of the Guardians, and then with each other movie he becomes more and more of a dad-like figure. You see that with his relationship with Groot. You see that with him comforting Thor in his depression of like having failed, and then when he gets Groot back, like you just see like he just breaks. There's a lot of heart in that little being, and Bradley Cooper, he acts his ass off. I'm trying to remember, is he crouching down in those green screen shots that you would see on the internet in the making of the film?
Mhm.
Having to crouching down sucks when you're a tall person. So just having to do that to bring that character to life on the big screen, he gave his all. He gave his body and his voice to that role and made it perfect.
Nazario, thoughts on Rocket?
I mean, I like it. I like the Guardians. I think they're probably the most fun characters of the MCU. Guardians 2 particularly, it's one of my top 5 MCU movies. Again, Rocket, it's part of an ensemble, and I figured the choices would be better if you were pointing to, integral parts of the movie, not main characters maybe, or top 2. Even though Rocket is part of the team, this is a team with at least 5 members at any point. So technically qualifies, yes. Rocket Raccoon, great character, yes. I wouldn't put it in this.
I think Rocket is probably, in terms of consistency between the movies, is probably the member of the Guardians that is consistently great between all of them. There are some characters I really like in the first Guardians, some characters I really like in the second Guardians. Rocket Raccoon is probably the only character that I think is consistently great throughout all 3. Well, all 2, and then Infinity War and Endgame. I think that Rocket's just a fun character because he's just kind of an asshole. I think, and it's very hard to make a character who is that much of an asshole endearing and lovable, and I think they do a great job at it. Cooper's voice performance is honestly super underrated because it's honestly really unrecognizable.
That I agree with. Yeah.
If I did not know that was Bradley Cooper, I would not recognize that it's Bradley Cooper's voice. That does not sound like Bradley Cooper. It's honestly a really good voice performance. Spence.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I would have preferred him in 2. I think he has a better character, he has a better performance. But I know this is an absolutely phenomenal pick. I think he's my favorite member of the Guardians. I think he has the most he's going through because Drax's story sort of got dropped between films. But just seeing how just the damage of his past and how he was treated and how that sort of carries into his action and how he treats every single character. And then even bonding with Yondu of finally saying oh, I see you. And then the ultimate sacrifice sort of changing how he perceived everyone into Infinity War and seeing Groot die. It's he is the most interesting of the characters. One of my favorite MCU characters even. He would have been my 3rd pick. I'm sad I couldn't pick him up.
I believe that's everyone on Rocket Raccoon. So we will.
By the way, thanks for Guard for mentioning it. Is Sean gone? Who actually does the kneeling down thingy?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a question in a future match of mine, isn't it?
Actually, probably.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah,
okay.
I doubt it. Nazario, what is your next pick?
Are monsters on the table?
Let's say no.
God. Okay, fine. Because I was gonna go with one of the creatures from Where the Wild Things Are, but if they're not available, let's say I'm gonna go back to The Secret of NIMH. I do believe that Mrs. Brisby is a very, very underrated animal character. She's I don't remember exactly why they changed her name from the book. The book was Mrs. Frisbee, but it is Mrs. Brisby in the movie. She basically is living as a single mother in a farm with her mice. And one of them gets real sick and really cannot move. And at the same time, the crop is coming in, so they are gonna cut off all of that side of the farm, and they're gonna basically destroy the brick that is her house. So she goes to the owl to get some help about it, and she opens this whole adventure that she didn't know she was gonna expect, where she realizes what happened to her husband, who she just knows dies and never really understood why. She finds out about the city of the rats of NIMH, which are rats that were experimented on and basically are super intelligent and now are deciding if it's moral or if it isn't moral to steal from humans to coexist because they have now the intelligence to do their own means. The fun fact about the movie, the interesting part even, is that Mrs. Brisby is actually not an experimented on mice. Her husband kind of was, but she wasn't. She's a regular mice. And yet she can hold her own against the plans and the reasons of all these super intelligent rats that are like, it happens when people become self-aware and intelligent. There's some bad sides, some good sides. Some people are evil and they just want to do whatever it's convenient for them. And even if you remove a little bit of the mystical thing from the last scene, Mrs. Brisby is a fierce portrayal of a single mother doing whatever it needs to be done to save her family and learning about actually improving the memory of her late husband while she does it. It's a lovely performance. It's a beautiful character arc. And if you haven't seen it, it's a little old, 1981, I think. Give it a watch. It's a really great movie.
Yeah. I love Mrs. Brisby. I love Secret of Nim. I think the film is excellent. I think the film is excellent. I think Mrs. Brisby is just a very likable character because she's not doing this. Her motivation is very relatable. She's doing this for her son. And I think the world that she is put in is very intriguing, very interesting. And I think the movie itself just rocks. Spence, you seen Secret of Nim?
I've gotten a question about it right once. That's about it.
Fair. Nico, have you seen Secret of Nim?
I've heard people talk about this movie so many times since I joined this community, and it's just one of those ones that I haven't gotten around to, and honestly kind of don't have a desire to see. Like, if I see it, yay, but if not, I won't be heartbroken by it.
That's fair. Now we're going to go on to my last pick, which is going to be... I'm going to pick one of my favorite animated characters from one of my favorite anime movies, my favorite Pixar movie. I'm going with Remy from Ratatouille.
A lot of rats and mice today.
A lot of rats and mice. I love Remy. I love this. I relate to this character so much. I just the passion that he has for that art form of cooking, I feel like is very relatable to any type of thing that is in any way involved with the arts or something that your parents might be like, yeah, really. I just think he's such a relatable character. Such the way he talks. Honestly, I think that is like the thing that really makes the characters. The way he talks about food. You understand, even if you know nothing about food. If you're like me, you're like, I like food, but I know the way he talks about it, you understand his passion for it. And I think that is what makes the character so brilliant. I think Patton Oswalt adds a whole lot to that character. I just love Patton Oswalt as a comedian. I love Remy. I think his relationship with his brother is really nice, and the friendship between Remy and Linguini is. It's a really, really nice connection, and how Remy and Linguini both kind of do feel betrayed, but they understand each other really well because they are kind of the same ilk. Spence, thoughts on Remy?
Yeah, this is my next pick. I had a whole joke prepared about Ratatouille, the greatest film of all time, and you fucking took it from me. You wasted Titus Burgess's talent on getting your pick in first. So fuck you. This movie's great, but fuck you.
Nico.
When you said Pixar and when you started having that RE sound to you, I thought for certain you were going to say Rex, which was on my list for honorable mentions. But I respect Remy.
On the table.
Well, it's a toy dinosaur, so I think that would be.
I picked a fucking Muppet. Come on.
who's technically a ball of fuzz. But anyway,
Technically
first,
speaking, aren't we all?
maybe. Anyway, first
Are
thing,
rats even real? Cameron Holton doesn't know.
Patton Oswalt is great. If you haven't seen MODOK on Hulu, go do so because he's great in that show and he's also great in.
No, we're talking about that one.
But he's also great in Ratatouille. Remy is a good character, but he believes his own hype a little too much. I actually beat Kurt Kalikowski in a debate with that exact argument of like, Remy has this gift and yet he still complains. But
he's in a situation. He's not in a situation where he gets to use the gift.
That's fair. That until at the end of the movie when he actually does.
And then he's not complaining anymore.
I'm not denying he's a good character because he is.
Nazario.
Sorry, I was muted and I lost my cursor for a bit. Yes, Remy, great character. My second favorite Pixar movie, Ratatouille behind Wall-E. I think that's actually what I felt this was going to represent, a movie that is completely dependent on one character, or it's all around this one character who just happens to be an animal. In the case of Remy, a super smelly rat, has the power of identify deep smells, and also of course that makes him not a good rat, because part of what rats do is kind of choke things beyond their sense of smell just to survive. So since he has a hyper sense of smell, he just wants to go to the good cuisine. It's a very, very interesting take. It's a great movie. It has the one thing that makes it like my second favorite instead of my number one. I've never been a fan of the dynamic of how Remy interacts with Linguini. I mean, it has to take everything in this movie, every single thing is a leap of faith from the audience, right? But that is just the one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit. But other than that, it's a great movie, it's a great character, and actually it's a great pick.
Fair. Now we'll each, since we only have 8, I'm letting 2 people pick one more, and it's 2 people that have actually watched Kubo and the Two Strings. Well, and also I've also watched it, but I'm being nice and letting them 2 go. So Spence, what is your final pick?
I want to clarify something. Do they have to be an animal for the entire movie?
I allow an experiment.
I was thinking more of
I know what you're thinking of. I'll allow it.
Yeah, because in Scooby-Doo 2, when he drinks the potion and I'm picking Cusco. I'm picking Cusco for his new groove. If you said no Scooby-Doo, would have been my pick though. Cusco never his new groove.
That's what I thought you were going to pick.
It's a really fun time, and I think it's one of the best comedies that Disney has made. Like including all their live action stuff. It's a film that fundamentally understands how a joke should be structured and builds it around the characters, and not necessarily the script. Even so far as in when they were first developing it, it was an entirely different film, but they kept the characters. They kept who they were, their beings, and then made this wonderful, just like road trip-esque comedy of these really just outlandish jokes that just work and they hit every time. And Cusco is just one of my favorite Disney leads. I think he has a really fun time with his world, and he is someone who is genuinely a dick and unlikable in the beginning of the film, who you end up rooting for because of not only just what he says, but also he is attempting to get better and work with Pacha about helping his family. And I think it's a great thing to watch him become.
I love The Emperor's New Groove, and I love Cusco as a character. It's honestly, it is so hard for movies to have a character that is a giant jerk and still keep the character likable throughout the runtime to where you actually want to spend the whole movie with them. And David Spade finds the exact right balance. honestly, I think it kind of annoys me that David Spade got slotted into playing like the sleazy dirtbag type of loser instead of like the quick talking arrogant jerk, because that's what I think he's really good at playing over characters like Joe Dirt. I think this, or whoever he plays in Benchwarmers, I think this is where he really shines, and I wish he played more characters like this. I know it's kind of on the line in terms of animal, but honestly, he's at his funniest when he's a llama, so I'll allow it. Nazario.
I was 20 years old when this movie came out, so I see it for what it is. It's basically a cartoon. It's funny. It is.
No arguments here.
What I mean is, cartoons are very basic forms of animation. They just want to make you laugh for a little bit, and that's their goal. If they succeed, they are good cartoons. Disney came from such a line of, they just came from the Renaissance. Everything up to Tarzan was different levels of success and greatness. Maybe not Pocahontas, but most of them. And then I was very excited for the Kingdom of the Sun, the movie that this was supposed to be, which was a retelling of The Prince and the Pauper, starring Owen Wilson and David Spade. Yeah. But for some reason, they didn't feel it was working. They, instead of trashing the whole movie, they just trashed Sting's soundtrack and kept the one song and decided to rework everything into a 90-minute joke. Is it funny? Yes, it is. Is it as memorable as all of you guys think it is? It's not.
Well, we remember it pretty well, so I think it is. Nico.
This is not even top 20, man. This is not top 20 Disney.
That's incorrect. Nico.
So when I was making my list, I drew a hard line with my criteria, and I wanted to make sure that every character I picked was an animal the entire way through the movie. They were born an animal, and if they were an alien, then they were an animal-like species of alien. And so Kuzco, because of that criteria, fell out of the cut, because I was really considering making him one of my two picks. But because of the criteria that I set for myself, he did not make it in. He is a great character, but I don't know if I agree with him being on this list of talking animals.
Nazario, you already talked about it. I already talked about it. So, Nazario, what is your final pick?
You know, if I was gonna go to the loophole thing that it looks like an animal, I probably would have to go with Stitch, but I'm not gonna do that because he's not an animal; he's an experiment. Just like Carol from Where the Wild Things Are is a monster. So if we're going down to animals, actually I'm between three that I'm kind of shocked nobody else put in this list. Must be an age thing. I think the other two are more talked about, so I'm just gonna go with Chief from Isle of Dogs, which is the mutt that was voiced by Bryan Cranston, the one who was always the homeless dog, the one that didn't believe in human owners, and he believed that a dog could find its own way. And by the events of this movie, where Mayor Kobayashi bans dogs from Japan and they are all thrown into Trash Island, he basically is forced into having a family of all the dogs that were being rejected, dogs that came from houses and were pets and knew a different kind of life. And he becomes kind of the leader, even though he keeps the whole movie saying that he's not, that everything is a democracy and they should vote on everything. But he obviously is the voice that leads them. And how he evolves throughout the movie by the relationship he develops with Atari Kobayashi, the kid who just wants to go find his dog, Spot. It's kind of a very sweet growing experience for his character. There are discoveries to be made in this movie. Not everybody's who they think they are, and there are more relationships that get developed as long as the movie goes around, that changed basically his whole character into something better. And I really, really, really dug that. I have seen this movie 5 times, and I didn't give it 5 stars the first time I saw it, but it is definitely a 5-star movie. The one line that kind of breaks my heart with Chief is when he finds out where his place in his family when they were born was, and when they tell him, yes, but you're not that anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen this since theaters. I remember really liking it in theaters, but a lot of it hasn't stuck with me, but it's also been 3 years, so that's fair. But I remember liking Chief. I think it was a pretty good character. I don't really remember a lot about the movie, so I can't speak too much on it, but I remember liking it pretty well. Nico, thoughts? Have you seen this?
I have not, but I think it's on my watch list. Like, I think it was. I think I had opportunities to watch it on HBO, but it was super late at night, and I was nervous I was going to fall asleep. So I was just
That's fair.
No, put it up. Put it off until you have actual time to watch it.
Spence, have you seen Isle of Dogs?
I've seen it 3 times actually. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Not my. It's back and forth with that and Mr. Fox about like what I enjoy more.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting pick for an animated character. I think there's a lot of better ones out there. Like I think this movie isn't. I don't think he carries the movie. I think there's better picks. I respect it, but I think he could have done a better job. You could have picked Mr. Fox.
That is true. Well, that's going to wrap up our show tonight. I think this is a pretty fun episode. Just to recap picks, we had Iago, Donkey, Master Splinter, Stuart Little, Animal, Rocket Raccoon, Mrs. Brisby, Remy, Cusco, and Chief. I think this was a real fun episode. Thank you to everyone for being on. Before we go, upcoming episodes of Logged It. We have movies about families, crime movies, female-led action movies, sequels that came 10 or more years later, animated characters, unlikely source material. If you'd like to be on any of those, please contact me or Tim Brzakala, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you to Nico. Thank you to Nazario. Thank you to Adelaide for being my panelist. Thank you to everyone who watched along. This was fun. Thank you to Tim, who helped me with things, even though he wasn't here tonight. This has been Logged It. Have a good one.
In case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, good night.